All right. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line for the second time ever, it's Rich Williams. How we doing this morning, Rich?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there, and before we get into the 50th anniversary stuff, I got to tell you something really cool. Last time you and I talked, I don't know if you remember or not, but we got to talking somehow about the paranormal and some of your ghost stories from the road, and you wouldn't believe how many people have come up to me and said something about that part of the interview. They loved hearing you talk about ghost stories.
Yeah, it's weird to have seen things that you don't really believe in. I'm not a ghost hunter, and when people tell me stories, it sounds like a load of crap. But there's been some things that we have witnessed that are pretty hard to explain.
Well, that was the really funny part about it. Some of my friends that are ghost hunters and are into this stuff, they're like, well, what about this? I'm like, I heard the same story you did. I don't have any other information on it. They were trying to get all the real dirty little details out of it because some of them actually wanted to go to where you were and trying to find those spots. So,
Yeah, I don't even know if they're still available.
yeah. So, anyways, no, I just wanted you to know that people got a real kick out of that the last time we talked. So,
Well, I don't remember that. It's not something that I've talked to friends with before, but I don't remember talking on the radio about it. But there you go. You know more than I.
hey, Rich, Kansas, another fork in the road, the 50th anniversary tour. Of course, that's coming to Des Moines here, but boy, that's a milestone, man.
Yeah, 50 is a big number. Half a century. That's yow.
When this was all kind of coming about, did anybody realize that it was 50, or did someone go, hey, it's the 50th anniversary, we should probably do a tour? How did it kind of come up? Was it in the mind's eye?
Definitely. Phil and I are going, well, 50, this is coming up, so we'll probably need to plan something for that. We did one show for our 40th in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But 50, that's a different number. And so we thought, our record company, they wanted to put out the 3 CD set, Another Fork in the Road. And they wanted to take care of all of that. And so, okay, well, we want to tour that. And so that's what the tour is about, is covering from the first album through the last studio album we did. We're going to cover the whole gamut of Kansas, albums. And so that's what the focus of this tour is going to be. And it's there's more excitement about this tour, that the feedback we're getting, than anything we've done in a very long time. So we're getting pretty excited about it.
When you guys sit down to do this, what's that conversation like? The first time you sit down to talk about the planning out this tour, was it, hey, we have to cover these songs, we have to do this? What were those initial meetings like?
Well, there's always songs that we will cover, and so that's just kind of a given in any conversation.
Yeah.
And the rest is, well, what do you want to do? First album, second album. We just started going through it. Let's try this. Well, that's never really worked that well live. So what about this? Oh yeah, that'll be great. And so that's the conversation we're having. And then the set is almost chiseled in stone, but as soon as I say it, we'll go, I don't think we're representing this enough. And what about this? And that we've done that before. So
yeah.
It's kind of an influx. And it doesn't start till June. So there's a lot of prep work going on individually. Everybody's got their homework to do. And I'm sitting in my guitar studio right now, and as soon as I hang up, I'm getting back to work, just relearning songs I haven't played in 45 years.
It's funny. I talked to Billy a couple weeks ago, and he said the same thing, where he's like, there's songs I've never played on this whole thing that I have to learn before we go out.
I'll sit and listen, and it's a thing called the Amazing Slowdowner, which is, I wish they had that when I was first starting, because you can put any song in there and you can slow it down, half speed, even slower. You can change the pitch of it. You can loop sections, so you can actually take a part that you can't remember and just loop it, slow it down, and listen and then figure out the parts. It makes it a lot easier. Whereas in the old days, it was, you have to keep lifting the needle on the record, over and over on the part. Was there any song or anything that, since you started rehearsing this again, was there anything you went back and you were like, man, I do not remember that? It came back fairly quickly, I would say. But at first, it's like, where on the neck did I play this? I'm like, this can't be right. This is really awkward. And what? Oh, here it is. Okay. And there are also sometimes when I kind of learned this in the studio and then we recorded it, and I always played it that way. But now that I have a chance to reflect on it, it sure would have been a lot easier and just sound better if I do it here instead. So it's a bit of both. You're relearning it and you're learning it from a different perspective, and you have time to actually perfect it, from, again, a different position on the neck, etc.
Do any of the songs hit differently for you now than they did 50 years ago?
Not so much that, but in some of the listen to, especially in some of the live versions of them, just going, wow, we were just a bunch of kids, and this was a really good band back then. It's because I was, I've improved a lot since I was in my 20s, but then I go back and say, wow, I forgot I could play that.
Okay.
And picking styles change and stuff, and so the way I picked at one point, I'm not picking that way now, and I'm finding some things are more difficult than they were then. So having to relearn the way I used to do things. I'm just saying it's a very odd process.
Well, I have no doubt. I mean, 50 years later on anything is going to make it interesting. Rich Williams from Kansas on the line with me right now. Another fork in the road, the 50th anniversary tour. You said it gets started in June, correct?
Yes.
You're coming to our neck of the woods in August, the 4th to be exact. We'll have the ticket information at the bottom of the page. What do you think is your biggest change as a musician from then till now?
It's more personal, I would guess. Back then it was an adventure. It was just something new and exciting. It was like a pirate ship out on the sea, and you never knew what to expect. So you didn't have anything to measure the experience really against. It was just all these new experiences. 50 years later, nothing is really new. But what is new is a gratitude for it, of still doing it, and being grateful that you still love to do it. But also, I can appreciate the moment now.
Okay.
Whereas before, it was you're just young and dumb and just rushing through each experience and not really internalizing it at that moment. Whereas now you can really appreciate every day, every gig, every song you're playing and all of that. It's just a more mature approach and outlook at the entire experience.
I gotcha. Rich Williams on the line with me from Kansas talking about the upcoming tour. Go back to the kind of planning part, because I think this stuff is kind of fascinating. Was there any arguments or spirited conversation about songs that should or shouldn't be on this? Like one person wanted one thing, but somebody else want to play it, or anything like that?
I wouldn't call them spirited or arguments. There were, people say, let's play this. Oh God, I don't want to do that one. I never really enjoyed playing that song. Back and forth. Let's do this one. Oh, that sounds good. Everybody goes, well, if we do this one, we can't do that one. And then you're weighing them, going, yeah, this would be a better one for this particular tour. So it's more conversation than everybody's just eager to do it. So we're not a fighting bunch of guys. We get along really well.
No, and I wasn't trying to imply that, or make it sound like you guys were fighting, but I just hearing musicians talk sometimes, I mean, everybody thinks every song is, the person's favorite, and, they may like the song, but maybe I like this one a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Well, most of that, it really comes from Ronnie Platt, the singer, because he wants to do them all. That's not going to happen, Ronnie. No, we're not doing that one. No, we don't want. No, we're not doing that one. No, and so he's just eager to do. I've always wanted to sing this song, and so we have to kind of calm him down. But again, it's nice to have somebody that's so eager they can't wait to get out there and do it. And how about this song? Yeah, let's do that. He's up for any of it.
What's a song that maybe for you is, we need to do this one? It may not be, one of the, big ones that everybody knows, but it's one that really I want to play.
There's a few from, the earlier albums that we haven't done in a long time that I've been lobbying for a while and hoping that there would be an opportunity.
Uh-huh.
And then once we got to the 50th anniversary, it was like, yes, now give me a reason why we're not going to do it. And there's songs that diehard fans have been wanting to hear for a long time too. And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag and name them, but
yeah,
again, it's just going to be. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that again, because it will conjure up a lot of memories of when we first started, and redoing these songs once again. And what's fun about these types of shows is, I like them all. We play a lot of casinos and, fairs, whatever. But this type of show is really directed to and for your more diehard Kansas fans rather than your casual fans.
Okay.
Like at the casino, most of the people that are familiar with 4 or 5, 6 songs, and the rest of it, it's a little bit alien to them. Whereas a show like this one, everybody there knows most of the deep cuts too.
Yeah.
So that gives us an opportunity to play those for open ears, and so that's really exciting for us.
That's awesome. Rich Williams from Kansas on the line with me right now talking about the 50th anniversary tour. Tickets on sale now for the Des Moines show. We have the details at the website.
Speaking of the show, I heard this morning there's only 300 seats left. So
yeah, we're getting down to it. That's and I believe you guys have played Hoyt Sherman before, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Such a neat auditorium.
Played everywhere else in Des Moines.
Well, that's what that was the other thing we were talking about from the first time you and I talked. I didn't know you guys signed one of your contracts in Des Moines.
Yeah, when we were playing at Fat Albert's, we'd go out there and do a 2-week. I think we were there 3 times. I can't remember what it was called before Fat Albert's. Oh, the 505 Club.
Okay.
And we'd go out there for 2 weeks and play. And I must have been the first time we were there that's when we were mailed the contracts for Don Kirshner. That's where we signed our record deal, and then we celebrated. We were staying at the Casabella Motel, and we walked up right around the corner of the grocery store, and we bought a whole bunch of lunch meat and Wonder Bread and made sandwiches in celebration.
I thought you were going to buy something else. I wasn't expecting the sandwiches.
Well, usually we were just kind of fending for ourselves.
I get you.
We actually we had probably our first band dinner.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really funny. Rich Williams on the line with me right now. I know you got to get back to things. Rich, we look forward to having you in town. Thank you so much for taking some time, and I appreciate it, man. I really do.
I do, too. And again, it's always fun to come back to Des Moines because that was the beginning of something there. And we have a lot of history of playing there over the years. Even while we're staying there, I used to go to concerts on days off. Saw Elton John at the fairgrounds. Saw the Eagles open for Humble Pie at the Civic Center or whatever it was.
Vets
downtown. Yeah, just a lot of great memories of Des Moines. A lot of funny stories. So coming back to play is always a treat.
Another fork in the road, 50th anniversary tour. We can't wait for it, man. We really can't.
I can't wait to get there.